Hello everybody, my name is Joe Carter, and once again I'm going to be introducing a new wargame design that I recently created. And the title of this game is called RAF Coastal Command, and it is a solitaire wargame. It's going to be print and play, and basically you will fly coastal patrols in attempts to sink German U-boats around the England and the United Kingdom during the years 1942 and 1943. And the game will come with the Lockheed Hudson twin-engine smaller bomber, and it carries depth charges. And there will be an aircraft expansion that will allow players to fly a short Sunderland 4-engine bomber patrol aircraft. And basically the goal of the game is to sink as many German U-boats, or assist in the sinking, either as many as you can without dying yourself. So it's a tables-based game, as are all of my games, and it plays very quickly, much quicker than most of my game designs. One mission can be completed in about 15 or 20 minutes, and it's still detailed, but this is one of my simpler designs. But I still have had a lot of fun playtesting it. So let's see, I'll go ahead and explain the components, and then I will run through one or two missions just to demonstrate the basic game flow. Okay, so the game comes with there's only 3 mats. There we have mat 1, 2, and 3. Mat number 1 is the zone mat, and it contains various information. For example, it has the travel zones. This represents water around the UK, or basically the North Atlantic. There's 2 patrol areas, the North Atlantic and the Bay of Biscay, near France. And there's no map. I did this style to abstract it, to keep things simple and to keep the table footprint small. I'm sure somebody could come up with an add-on if they wanted to create a map with circular zones and figure out where's what, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it consistent with some of my other games, like my Vietnam war games, like River Rats games and things like that, and also Firebirds, my Vietnam War Firebirds helicopter games. So let's see, here we have, like I said, the travel zones, and the mission basically starts out, everything's randomized. You're going to start out in the zone where you encounter the U-boat. You're not going to travel because, like I said, it's randomized. Who knows how many hours you had already been patrolling, or maybe a U-boat was reported and then you quickly took off from base and went straight to that location. So like I said, the encounter zone is each mission is randomized, and you start out in that zone. You don't take off from base. But after the encounter is finished, you do need to fly back through each travel zone if you have fuel tank leaks, or and then maybe you can't make it back. You have to calculate it. Or engine oil leaks, where there's a possibility of fire or engine failure in each travel zone. And let's see. Okay, so we have the random events box here. So there's about 10 different random events that can possibly happen. And I have these little counters that you basically roll for the random event at the very beginning of the encounter. You don't roll, each travel zone heading back to base. It's always just one D10 roll, and then that will affect the remainder of the mission. So you would put it here if there's a random event. But there's only about a 10% chance for each mission, so it's not going to happen very often. And here we have daylight hours. Now, daylight hours is when the encounter occurs with the U-boat. It's randomized. Everything's randomized each mission, so the replayability is very good, in my opinion. So we have a total of 13 hours of daylight, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So whenever the encounter occurs, it's randomized, and the time does not pass during the attack on the U-boat. But if you use all of your depth charges, and let's say you disable it, or it can't dive, like if you cause enough damage, the U-boat can't dive, or it must surface, like the pressure hull is damaged, but it can still move. The diesel engines are still functioning, or whatever. What you can do is you can shadow the U-boat and call for assistance from allied aircraft or surface ships, and you don't travel, it's abstracted only on this mat here, but you do a check each turn, and you roll to see if allied forces arrive, and you roll to see if not, then you roll to see if you're continuing to track the U-boat, or if you lose contact. So each turn that you fail, that they don't show up, the allied forces, you advance the hour by one hour. So let's say, for example, if the encounter occurs at 5 o'clock, okay, you'll only, or let's say 4 o'clock, okay, you'll only have this hour, the hour that occurs. You would only have 3 turns before the sun goes down that you would be able to shadow the U-boat. Because once the sun goes down, it'd be very difficult, even with radar, which I believe the Hudson did not have a good radar, or maybe no radar at all. I'm pretty sure that it had no radar. I know the Sunderland had radar, but still, at night it would be very difficult, I think, to track without, from a distance to shadow at night. I think it'd be almost impossible. You'd have to use ley lights and then dive on them, keep diving on them to follow them to see where they were. But anyway, if they do show up, the Allied forces, the U-boat is automatically sunk. So I'm going to demonstrate all this, so you don't need to try to figure out what I'm saying. I know it's a little bit difficult to understand, but anyway, so this is just a little added something I put in the game, that a little something extra that it basically it simulates how they would shadow and then other aircraft or surface ships would come in and sink them if they couldn't dive. Which, if they couldn't dive, it was very common that they were damaged and they were not unable to dive. So let's see. And then here we have the petrol, and this is randomized too. Like where the encounter occurs, it's not related to how much petrol. These are both randomized, the location and the petrol. So you could be patrolling, theoretically, you could be patrolling for many hours, and then, you know, your fuel's lower, and then, oh, you have an encounter. So, oh, how many turns could I shadow before I run low on fuel and have to return? Or you could have almost a more full. Now this is not full. I changed this mat. It says 24 here because there's going to be some fuel burned no matter what when the encounter occurs. So this is not considered full, but this is how much is left. So this is all randomized. So everything's randomized. The time, the location, how much petrol, everything's randomized to give good replay value. So let's see. And if you run out of fuel, like due to fuel tank leaks, or you miscalculate, oh, I shadowed too long, and then you can't make it back to base, oops, you're going to have to ditch in the sea and then pray that you're rescued. So the chances aren't very good that you'll be found, but it's possible. So let me go down here. This is the mat number 2. This is the combat mat. Here we have this is where the combat takes place between the British patrol aircraft and the U-boats, 1 or 2 U-boats. Now usually there's only going to be 1 U-boat, but occasionally there's going to be a type 14 that it's a replenishing, you know, milk cows. Most of you probably know what this is, but this was a very valuable U-boat, and but they lost all of them, the German Navy, the Kriegsmarine, because the Allies really wanted to sink these because they were so valuable to replenish the U-boats at sea. But occasionally there will be a second U-boat, and the second U-boat would be this, the Type 14, and you would put 2 U-boats here, and then if that occurs, you're going to have to put this resupply counter on a special box, and that means they're always surfaced when you encounter them, 2 different U-boats. Only problem is they have a lot of firepower, AA gun firepower, and it's very difficult to attack 2 at once. So, oh, also one other time that you might encounter 2 U-boats is if there was a Type 7C flak boat in May of 1943. Only May, the encounter might occur. And then it's escorting another U-boat through the Bay of Biscay. So there's going to be a lot of firepower if you're going to take on both of these. And then the 7C flak never dives. It always stays surfaced during the encounter. So anyway, you put U-boat 1 and 2. Let me go through everything here. Here's where you put the RAF patrol aircraft. There's 2 different aircraft. There's the Lockheed Hudson, and then the expansion will include the Short Sunderland. So these are the 2 silhouette counters. And by the way, these are mounted on 0.28 millimeter cardstock, and I just printed out these large counters on photo paper, matte photo paper, and then I glued them on to this cardstock and cut them out with scissors. It's still thin enough that you can use scissors, but you have to be a little bit careful because it's a little difficult to cut these because they are pretty thick but not too thick. So I don't ever use knife blades. I always use scissors for everything. So for me it's just easier. So okay, next we have spotted. At the beginning of each the first combat round, you're going to have to roll to see if the U-boats or U-boats spotted you, and if not, you get like a surprise attack and you get a bonus modifier, and they do not, it just increases the chances of you hitting them because they're not taking evasive action. They're just cruising along. So, and in here we have this aircraft speed. You can choose slow, medium, or fast. And then here we have altitude, very low, low, medium, and shadow. Shadow is after the encounter is finished and you want to follow them from a distance and call in Allied forces to try to sink them, as I mentioned earlier. So, and then also here I forgot weather on Mat 1. We have good, poor, and bad weather. And the weather does not change during the mission. It always stays the same. So here, and then you can change the speed and altitude at the beginning of each combat round. Depending on the speed and altitude gives you a better chance or worse chance of hitting the U-boat with depth charges or with the machine guns to hit the gunboat crew, the U-boat crews, AA gun crews, and it also gives the U-boat a better or worse chance to hit your aircraft with their AA guns. So here we have U-boat 1 and 2, and special, like I said, really the only special the game has right now is a resupply situation. So you would just put that there as a reminder. Like I said, there's also possibility of a flak gun, 7C flak boat that would be escorting another U-boat, and then of course there would be no special counter because they're not resupplying, he's escorting. So here we have the crew skill level. This is the skill level for the entire boat, and including the AA gun crews. And you can have green, average, veteran, or elite, and that's randomized. And here we have AA gun crew 1, 2, and 3. Depending on the U-boat, you're going to have up to 3. The Type 7s only have 1. The Type 9, the Type 9s have 2 gun crews, AA gun crews, and the Type 7C flak, and the Type 14 has 3 gun crews. So, for example, let's see the Type 7B here. This would have only 1 gun crew, so the NA means not available. You would just put 2 NAs over gun crew, AA gun crews 2 and 3. Now, if the AA gun crews can be attacked, now the U-boat rolls during each combat round, the U-boat always fires its AA guns first because they have a longer range than the Lockheed Hudson or the Short Sunderland's .303 millimeter machine guns. Those had a much shorter range, so they always fire first. So you need to keep that in mind. And so, for example, for each AA gun crew, you're going to roll 4 times in the tables book. So it can be it can be very dangerous taking on a flak, the Type 7 flak boat, escorting a Type 9, 9B or C, because for example, a 9B or C has 2 AA gun crews. So you're talking 3 AA gun crews for the flak boat, and then 2 more. So that's 5 AA gun crews, and each one is firing 4 times per round. So that's like 20 shots at you before you can even get close enough to, if you're spotted, to drop your depth charges or to attack with your machine guns. So here, if they're wounded, you can attack with your machine guns after they attack. The bomb aimer cannot do both during the same combat round. He either has to prepare to drop the depth charges, or he can fire his machine gun, but he can't do both. Okay, and you do get some victory points. Like, for example, if you fire machine gun and they're wounded, you put like a wound counter, and up to moderate wounded, they can still fire their guns. But if they're severely wounded or KIA, of course they cannot. Okay, and then here we have depth. Now, this is randomized when the encounter occurs. Now, there's a chance that you'll come upon the U-boat and it's already diving, or it had submerged. That means that they had spotted you first. Now, the depth is changed 1 level each combat round. For example, if you find a U-boat that's surfaced, which is about 50% chance, average, before modifiers, then let's say you attack with your depth charges, and you don't have to attack with all your depth charges. You can attack with just 2 units of, these are ×2 each, so these are 2 depth charges. You drop 2 at a time. You could just drop 1 or 2 units. It's your choice. I don't know why you would make multiple passes. I guess there are some reasons, but so for example, you drop, let's say you drop 2 units of depth charges and no damage, you missed, or it's superficial damage, and you fly over, the attack run finishes, you survive the run, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to attack again. So what would happen was the next combat round, the U-boat would go down to the diving level. They always dive unless they have 3 or 4 damage points. And 5 means sunk. Okay, so if they have 3 or 4 damage points and they are diving or submerged, the next combat round, they have to automatically surface and they can't not dive again. That's when you might want to, if you have no more depth charges, then you'll probably want to shadow them. Because if they can dive, for example, the next combat round, they're diving, you're like, okay, I'm going to drop my remaining 2 depth charges. Boom, boom. And you still missed. Well, great. Now what? They're diving. The next combat round, they're submerged. You're not even going to attack again because you have no more depth charges. And you can't track them. You can't shadow them because they're not disabled on the surface or damaged enough where they can't dive. So then the encounter would be over with. Now, if they're diving, let's say they're submerged. Let's say you encounter them and they're diving. Like, come by and you attack. You drop 2 sets of depth charges. Usually you're going to drop all 4 units, but there may be some certain circumstances, situations, like if there's 2 U-boats or, you know, whatever, it's your choice. Then we drop 2, first combat round. Okay, oh, we damaged them. They sustained 3 damage points. Boom, boom, boom. This says surface, no dive. That means the next combat round they have to surface. And then maybe you have a better chance of hitting them when they're on the surface. Always. And here you have a much less chance, much better chance. Diving is no modifier for hitting. So then, is this still recording? I hope so. I'm wasting my time here if it's not. Okay, so for example, let's say you come upon the U-boat and it had spotted you. It's submerged. It spotted you from a distance, meaning if it is submerged, that means that they did spot you, obviously. Because there's a trail, you know, the bubble trail. They're like, oh, there it is. You know, we spotted it from a distance, and then when we arrived, it's already underwater. They must have seen us. Okay. You can still attack with your depth charges, but you're going to have a much less chance of hitting them. But you can attack with your machine guns. So let's say, for example, you do you're going to drop all your depth charges because this is your last chance. If you miss, or you don't blow them to the surface, then they're gone the next combat round. It's over. The encounter's finished. But there's a possibility, a small possibility, that you could cause them to have to surface, no dive, 3 damage points. Disabled means they have to blow tanks and immediately surface the next combat round, and they can no longer dive, and their diesels are knocked offline. They're out of order. They're non-functional. That means that you'll have a better chance, if you still have depth charges, you'll have a better chance of hitting them. And if not, if you shadow them, you'll have a better chance of maintaining visual contact until forces arrive. So, but and then of course 5 damage means they're sunk. Even if they're surfaced, let's say they're surfaced, okay? And you're like, boom, 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 boom. Wow, we got 5 damage points. They abandon ship and it sinks. Scuttled, sunk. That's it. Probably not even scuttled. It's like flooding. So, there are many different possibilities with this game, which is kind of fun. It's a simple game, but there's a lot of variety to, like I said, that adds to the replay value, which I feel is important for players that they can play the same game over the years and maybe hopefully not get too tired of it. So here, these are the depths. Like I said, you can change 1 depth per combat round, and it's randomized when you encounter them. There's about a 50% base chance that they're going to be surfaced. Here we have damage points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2, there's really no effect. 3 means they cannot no longer dive if they're surfaced, and if they're diving or submerged, that means they must surface the next combat round and they can no longer dive. 4 means disabled. Like I said, they must. The same rules apply for rule 3 damage points, but they have a better chance of hitting them, with depth charges if you have any remaining the next combat round. And they must surface, of course. The engines are knocked offline, and 5 is sunk. Now, you can attack the machine gunners, like the dorsal gunner here, the bomb aimer, if he's not dropping depth charges. They only target the AA gun crews. So you're going to roll for a hit for each AA gun crew. You don't target specific ones. They're all, because you're just spraying the U-boat with machine gun fire. Okay, so you have to roll for each AA gun crew, U-boat gun crew, to see if you hit them for each time you attack. So, okay, let's see. I think that covers that. And let's see. Okay, we'll go over to the aircraft mat here. We have pilot medals. This is the Hudson aircraft, patrol aircraft. Here we have the bomb aimer position, pilot, jump seat. Jump seat is if the pilot is severely wounded. Then you're gonna have to have another crewman take the jump seat position to fly the aircraft for the remainder of the mission. Here we have the wireless operator. He runs the radio, basically. And then you have depth charges times 2 each unit. And then once you can drop up to 4. And you can actually just, I don't know why you would want to, but you could just strafe the U-boat without dropping depth charges. The only time you might want to do that is to try to wait until they're diving, and then you don't have to. You could like come in full speed, fast speed, and high altitude, like first combat round, and strafe them with machine gun fire, and they have a less chance of hitting you with their AA guns. But the next combat round, let's say they are diving, they can no longer fire. Oh, that's what I forgot to mention. They cannot fire their AA guns, of course, if they're diving or submerged, obviously. So these two depth levels, you're not going to encounter AA gunfire. So, but you do have a less chance of hitting them with depth charges. So you're going to have to decide what's more important. Take more risk of getting hit by AA gunfire, but a better chance of hitting them with depth charges, or no risk of AA gunfire, but you have a less chance of hitting them with depth charges. So it's your choice. There are quite a few choices in this game. There's not a whole bunch. It's a pretty simple game, but I think there's enough choices. It plays quickly enough to keep people interested. So, okay, and once you drop each one, it says DC is released, depth charge is released. So, like I said, you can drop no depth charges or up to 8 4 units. And here we have the dorsal gunner. So, okay, and finally over here we have, this is the Hudson damage log sheet, and we have the different sections. The damage modeling is fairly detailed, and these are, all these damages affect modifiers in the tables books. So the more damage you sustain, the more chance you have of crashing during your attack run, or your engine catching fire, or running out of fuel due to fuel leaks, whatever. So you need to keep that in mind, that this bomber can be heavily damaged and you are over open water. So the risks you take are your choice, your responsibility. So, and then here we have the different types of U-boats. Okay, we're about 35 minutes in. Okay, this is a Type 7C41. Probably I'm not going to include this in the game because the mission dates, the campaign game dates are June 1st, 1942. There's a long and a short game. The long game starts on June 1st, 1942 and ends on June 1st, 1943. And the short game starts on June 1st, 1943 and ends on June 1st, 1944. And the number of encounters for the short game is a longer time between each encounter, so that plays much more quickly because there were fewer U-boats during 43 to 44 summer, 1 year, June to June. So that reflects the shorter game. There's basically less encounters. So the short game plays in about 2 to 3 hours on average, and the long game plays about, let's see, I think it plays about, I think it's 6 to 8. I'm going by memory here. Let's see. Yeah, I have it. Yeah, 6 to 8 hours average. So the short game plays very quickly. You can, like I said, you can complete a mission in about 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at the longest. So it's a very quick game, and a small table footprint, sets up very quickly, 5 minutes, setup or breakdown time. And let's see, I'm not going to go through each component or equipment. That's not necessary. And then we have the counters. There aren't that many. I think there's around 100 counters, so it's not that many. And let's see. Okay, let me go through the U-boats real quick. We have the Type 9B. Now, the type that you encounter is also randomized. There's going to be less chance of the B models, like the Type 7B or the Type 9B. There's going to be less chance because it's already, 1942. So they were being replaced by the C models. Okay, we have a Type 7D mine layer. You will not encounter this very often, but it is possible. And you get a little bit more victory points rewarded if you can sink a 7D. And here's the 7C flak boat, as I mentioned earlier. And then the 7C is one of the most common ones you will encounter. And here's a 9C. And of course we have the 7B here. You won't encounter this too often. And then the type 14. You won't encounter this very often either. There weren't that many of them, so you might encounter one during a long game, maybe, but probably not. Maybe every few games you'll encounter one of these, but not so often. I wanted to keep things fairly realistic. So, okay, I think we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a couple mission playthroughs. It's already 40 minutes in, so I've been talking too much. I put this back here. We don't know what type of U-boat we're going to encounter. So I've been playing through... Oh yeah, let me explain this. I forgot. As usual, I always forget this. There was 2 sheets. This is the crewman status sheet, and this is where you put the crewman. You mark the box for the crewman position. And then here we have the name of the crewman and the start-end date. And we have this crewman skills. We have gunnery, navigation, parachuting, pickle barrel, piloting, spotting, and this is an old sheet, and also wireless. The wireless operator has a skill that helps under certain situations. And then we have the fate here. Now these skills are useful under certain situations, and they're only available to certain crewmen. And you to assign a skill points, you need to. The game starts out with a certain amount. It's the player's choice. If you want a more difficult game, you can start out with fewer or 0. If you want an easier game, you can start out with 65. 65 maximum for the Hudson means all of the crewmen have all of their skills maxed out. But if they're killed in action or discharged or wounded for whatever reason, then your replacement crewmen probably won't have any, or maybe just a few. And so you have to earn more skill points by sinking U-boats, or assisting in the sinking of U-boats, or by killing AA gun crews, or severely wounding AA gun crews. So here we have the campaign log sheet. I've been playing through a long game, and I've completed, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 encounters. I don't want to call them missions, encounters. See, this game is only focusing on the actual encounters occurring, not I'm flying every mission, and we only encounter a U-boat 5% of the time. That kind of game wouldn't be very fun. So, like I said, this game only focuses on actual encounters that occur, which are not very often. So when you roll for an encounter, the long game, there's up to 20 days between encounters, and the short game is up to 100 days between encounters. So, okay, here we have the date and location of the encounter, the U-boat types encountered, and the mission results, whether they escaped, the Hudson sank them, or the armed forces or allied forces sank them. And then we have the mission VPs and the total VPs. VPs are victory points. So let's see. Yeah, I think. And the 2 possible locations are Bay of Biscay and North Atlantic. Now, those are randomized also. Now, the only really relevance those have is if you have to ditch, and the chances of rescue are a little bit less if you're in the North Sea, and also that there's a little bit less chance of Allied forces showing up if you're shadowing a surfaced U-boat. So, okay, I'm rambling on here. Let me, this is the tables book. Most of you are probably familiar with this layout. It's very simple. And this game is actually, like I said, it's pretty simple. There's only 13 pages of tables, and sounds like a lot maybe, but it's one of my simpler games. And it plays very quickly, which is it's good. once in a while having simpler games are good. So during the first mission encounter, I'm going to show you the tables, at least for the first time, and then after that I'll just read off what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. So we are at, like I said, we've completed 7 encounters, and we did lose 1 crewman the last encounter. We were attacking a Type 9B U-boat in the Bay of Biscay, and it was surfaced, and we were stupid. My pilot was kind of dumb. We attacked, it was good weather, and we attacked low and slow, very low and slow, and they just shot the hell out of us. And our our bomb aimer was lightly wounded, and our dorsal gunner was severely wounded, and they just just heavily damaged our bomber, and we damaged them, but not enough to force them to the surface, so they did escape. And we have sunk, so far, now it's very difficult to sink U-boats in this game. Don't think you can just fly over it and drop a couple depth charges and that's it. Your chances of sinking U-boat are not very good. You're going to sink maybe a few U-boats during a long game. Directly, and then assisted by Allied forces, and maybe a few more. But if it's sunk by Allied forces, you only get 50% of the victory points that you would if you sank it yourself. So we had one on the September 26, 1942. We had one, we sank a Type 7C, our Hudson, and then on the November 9th, 1942, we sank a Type 9B. We didn't sink it, we assisted by shadowing, and Allied forces sank it, so we did get 50% credit for that. So we've only had 2... Yeah, and then if it escaped, most of these escaped. I think, yeah, these are all escaped. So we've only sunk 2 out of 7 encounters. We only sank 1 ourselves, and then we did assist in a second sinking. So like I said, they're very hard to sink, very difficult, but it's a good challenge. I didn't want to make it too easy. I don't like making my games too easy. I'm sure many of you are aware of that. If a game's too easy, then it's never fun, in my opinion. So we'll go ahead and, okay, so the next date is, let's see, okay, December 3rd, 1942. I'm running along too long here. We're already 45 minutes in, so I want to speed along here and speed things up. So we're going to go ahead and go to table. Now, this game requires 2. You can get away with 1 d20 die, but I would recommend doing 2 d20 so you don't have to roll 2 times. You can just roll them together. 2 d20 dice, and then minimum 2 d10 dice, but I recommend 10 d10 dice, so you can just roll them all at once. Like, for example, if it's or 12, I mean 12. If you have a Type 14 U-boat or a Type 7C, a flak boat, you can just roll the whole handful at once. That would be for 3 gun crews, 4 shots each. So boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go here first. U-boat encounter setup. We already did that. It's the next encounter is December 3rd. So we're going to go here to U-boat encounter location, and we're going to roll a 1d10. Okay, we rolled a 3. So the easy is encounter zone, like that. We're going to go ahead and put our Hudson right there. See, we don't have to take off. We were already patrolling, so we automatically move into the encounter zone. And then, oh, I'm sorry, wait, I got it wrong here. Okay. That's okay, I got the rolls backwards. Okay, encounter location was 3, so that would be Bay of Biscay. There's only about a 20% chance that there's going to be an encounter in the North Atlantic. So we're going to go ahead and mark BOB, Bay of Biscay, and then both rolls are D10, so this is correct. And then U-boat encounter time. Now the times are randomized. We're going to roll 2d10, 1 through 100. 67 is 2 p.m. Okay, this is the time that we encounter them. It's always daytime. We don't carry ley lights on the Hudson or the Sunderland. The Wellingtons did. There were a few RAF Coastal Command Wellington squadrons, and of course the Liberators carried ley lights. They could attack at night, but this game does not cover those aircraft, so it's always a daytime encounters. And okay, encounter time, weather, 1d20. See what kind of weather. The weather does not change during the thing. Okay, 10, but it is December, so it's a plus 5 modifier, so 15, poor weather. Okay, no more good weather, poor weather. And remaining Hudson petrol, this is also randomized, 1d20. 3, 13 petrol boxes. Oh, that's not a lot. We were probably finishing up our patrol. But luckily we're only in zone 3, so we still have a lot of extra fuel in case we have to shadow. But I don't know. It depends. If we have fuel tank leaks, we're probably not going to even bother shadowing because we might run out. Okay, we go to the next table. You follow these tables in alphabetical and numerical order unless it's noted otherwise where to go next. So, but there's a note for each one telling you where to go, just in case. Okay, depth charge loadout is always 8 depth charges. So we go to 8, and a U-boat type. We're going to roll a 1d20. We roll a 19. Type 9C. Okay. Oh, we almost rolled a Type 14. Wow. That would have been good. Oh, 9C. Okay, this is a little bit tough. They have 2 flat gun, AA gun crews. So we're going to remove one of these NAs because there's 2. Okay, next we're going to go to... Okay. We're going to skip these notes because there's nothing affected. Now we're going to go A9 for U-boat crew skill level. We'll roll 1d10. 8 veteran. Oh, not good. A little bit difficult. This is what we encountered, close to what we encountered last time, except it was a 9B with veteran crew skill. So they're a little difficult. Hopefully they're, well, if they're diving to submerge, they can't shoot their AA guns unless they're blown to the surface. But, excuse me, but then we have a less chance of hitting the depth charges, so which is better? You decide. Okay, AA gun crews, we have, this tells you how many AA gun crews each type has. So we already know Type 7, Type 9C has 2 AA gun crews. So 1, 2. Okay. Oops, I put in the wrong one. Here we go. Crew skill. Okay. And U-boat starting depth. Now the modifiers depend on the U-boat type, the weather, the crew skill, whatever. Now if they're diving to submerged, you are automatically spotted. Obviously, they saw you first before you could surprise attack them. So we're going to roll a 1d10. Okay, we rolled a 1, surfaced. And we have a -2 modifier for Type 9C. And veteran, it's surfaced, the modifiers. So we're going to take our little Kriegsmarine flag marker, put it in the surface box. Okay, we're going to go ahead and roll for random event. Just one time per encounter. Usually a random event does not occur. Okay, we rolled a 3, no random encounter for the rest of the, no random event for the rest of the encounter. And combat. Now, we're going to go ahead and choose our attack speed and altitude. This is going to be tough. Last time I went low and very slow. Slow and very low, and that was completely stupid. Now, we don't know if we're spotted yet or not. Okay? So you're going to have to choose. Well, we do know we're possibly not spotted because they are on the surface. If they had been diving or submerged, we know for a fact that they had already spotted us. So we're going to do speed and attack speed and altitude first. Then we're going to roll for spotting if they spot us. So we're going to have to choose our speed and altitude first. Now, your speed and altitude, your speed affects the chances of being spotted. The slower you fly, the better chance you have of being spotted, and the faster, the less chance. So, but I don't think we're going to fly slowly this time because of what happened last time. It was pretty bad. I think we're gonna, yeah, this kind of situation is probably better to force them down into diving depth. I don't think we're gonna do, because then once they're diving, we can go very low and slow, and no, we don't run a risk of being hit with AA gunfire because they're diving. So I think we're going to go ahead and go fast. No, I don't know. Let's see. That's a difficult choice. Let's see. Last time we just got pulverized by their flak guns. So what to do? It's hard to choose sometimes. We're going to go ahead and go. I don't know if I'm going to do a depth charge attack. It's probably better to force them under. We're going to go medium. We're going to go fast. We might be able to actually do a surprise attack on them. There's a chance. We can decide whether we're going to attack them or not with depth charges, whether we're spotted or not. The problem is we're going to come in fast, so maybe we can come in fast and very low. Yeah, let's try that. Maybe we won't be spotted. Maybe we can drop our depth charges, but fast speed reduces the chances, but it's safer. Okay. Okay, we're going to roll for spotting. Let's see if they spot us. They are a veteran crew, so there's a good chance we're going to be spotted. Okay, what's the weather? The weather is poor weather. We're coming in at fast speed. We got a -2. But we got a +3 modifier for veteran U-boat skill. So we got a +1. So we got a 60% chance of being spotted. So we'll see. Cool, level 5 +1 is 6. Yes, we were spotted, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and put our yes spotted box. Now we're going to see if I can survive this attack run, whether I made the right choices or not. Okay, they are going to open fire first. I have these attack and defend counters. You don't need to use these, but you know, you can just put it here. That's fine. You don't even really, you know, the only time you might use a defend counter is if there's 2 different U-boats and you can mark which one you're attacking. You can't attack 2 different U-boats during the same combat round. You have to target one only. So we're going to just mark this as attack. Excuse me. And okay, they get how many shots? We got 2 gun crews, so they get 8 shots. Wow. There's a good chance they're going to hit us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a lot of shots. And we roll. Okay, let's see. Let's check our modifiers. I have my DRM calculator here. Probably won't need this, but only on the depth charge table if this is probably necessary. But let's see here. Okay, they're surfaced, obviously. So let's see, we've got a -2. We'll go ahead and use this. Why not? It's a little easier. Uh-oh, we're very low? Yeah. So we're at a 0 now. That's not good. Veteran, +3. Oh no. Okay, we got 1 hit. Oh, only 1 hit. Wow. We were very lucky. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and flip back to the damage tables. Hudson damage tables to see where they damaged us. Hopefully it was superficial damage. We'll see. Now you can have walking hits here. Walking hits are very bad. It just goes through this entire fuselage from front to back. Oh great, we rolled, oh wait, oh it's a 1d20, okay, hold on. We rolled a 10. Okay, they hit us in the right wing. I go to table F6. I'm going to roll another 1d20. Hopefully, most of these damage tables, there's about a 50% chance of superficial damage. So, okay, we got superficial damage. Good. Wow, that was very lucky. Okay, now it's our turn. What are we going to do? Are we going to attack with our depth charges? I don't know. Since we didn't sustain any damage, we have a better chance of hitting them. We're going to go ahead and drop our depth charges. Maybe. Let's see here. I think, yeah, we're going to have to do our guns first, our gun attack. So we're going to go ahead and drop 2 depth charges, 2 units. But this, yeah, this combat round. So he's only our dorsal gunner is going to attack. So you can use this attack counter just to track who's attacking. Okay, so we go to table B4 for Hudson MG attack. Only surfaced U-boats, of course, because you're targeting the gun crews. The .303 MGs cannot damage the U-boat hull. I wouldn't think so, so I don't think it could penetrate. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it couldn't. So we're going to go and roll 1 time. Now there's no ammunition tracked machine gun ammunition because I figured there's not going to be enough tack runs you wouldn't run out, so you don't have to worry about tracking that. Oh, I rolled a 10. Awesome. Okay, that was for the first gun crew. We could do it for each one. So we're going to roll 2 times. Good, we hit them. And we're going to roll for see if what kind of wounds they received on table B4 note A. We rolled a 5. Ooh, they were moderately wounded. Unfortunately, you only get victory points and skill points if you severely wounded or killed them. And we're going to go ahead and roll for this one to see if we hit them. That's gun crew 2. We rolled an 8. Okay, we're going fast speed. That's a -2. We have gunnery skill points, I think. No, this is our new... Yeah, this is our new gunner, so we had to replace the old dorsal gunner. He was severely... So, no, we don't get the modifiers for that. And... So that equals... So it's a 0. Let's see here. +2, 0. No. We missed the second. We missed the second gun, AA gun crew, unfortunately. So, okay, that's done. Now we're going to go to table B5. We're going to drop our depth charges. Let's move this. Okay, yeah, we're going to go and drop two units. Okay. We're going to roll 2 times for each unit, 1 for each depth charge. So this is going to be 4 dice rolls. So we're going to go ahead and let's see. We're going to just roll 4 times at once. There are a lot of modifiers. This table has the most modifiers in the entire game, so you might want to use this DRM calculator. It might be a little bit easier. I'll include this with the game once it's released on Wargame Vault. It speeds things up a little bit. Okay, we're going to go ahead and roll 4 times. Ooh, we got 2 8s, so maybe those are hits. Go ahead and use this real quick here to calculate. We're running out of time. We're already an hour into the game, into the video. Let's see. Okay, okay, -2, we're fast. No damage. Pickle barrel skill, yes, we do have that. Our bombardier has 5 pickle barrel skill points, so we get a +1. And our pilot has 5 piloting skill points, so we get a 0, +1. And very low altitude, 1, 2. And a Type 9 VC, because it's a larger size, you get a +2, so it's obviously 2 hits. That's great. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and roll 1d20 for each hit on note A. There's a 50% chance of superficial damage. But it is possible that one hit can actually disable the U-boat. Now, the Sunderland this carries smaller depth charges. The Hudson, the Sunderland will, of course, carries larger depth charges. So the Sunderland tables will have a better chance of damaging or maybe even sinking the U-boat. Oh, we rolled a 20. Wow. We rolled a 1 and a 20. 20 is 4 DPs, or damage points, sustained. So we're going to go ahead here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are disabled. They're on the surface, now they're disabled. They cannot, their engines are knocked out. Diesel engines are knocked offline. And they also, their pressure hull's damaged. They can no longer dive. So that's great. That's really good. Problem is they still have their AA gun crews. So, and we are now going to roll for a crash check. You always have to roll to see if you crash into the sea. The more damage your bomber has, or aircraft has, the better chance that you'll crash. So we're going to go and roll a 1d20. Okay, let's see. Good weather, no. Okay, piloting skill, -1, so 16. And then fast speed, 18. Oh, a little close there. We almost hit the water. Going a little too fast. Okay. Alright, I'm going to have to change these modifiers, actually. I'm going to have to add the altitude modifier. But that's okay. Okay, let me make a quick note here so I don't forget. Later I'll have to make one minor change. I forgot to add these modifiers to this. What do we got here? We'll do very low and medium. Those two would do the modifiers. Oh, got it backwards here. Just 1 second, please. I have to do this before I forget. If I don't mark this, I'll forget. Okay, medium altitude would be minus and plus if very low altitude. Okay, let me mark this. These highlighters are okay. I don't know how I forgot those modifiers, but that's okay. They'll be included in the release version. Okay, so we got close to the water, but we didn't hit the water. Excuse me, thankfully. Okay, and U-boat depth change, table B7. U-boat can no longer dive. This is listed in these notes here, so I'm not going to read it. We already know that they're disabled, they're stuck on the surface, they cannot move, and they cannot dive. So we are not going to shadow yet because we still have depth charges. We have 4 depth charges. That's great. We can make 1 more attack run. So we're going to take a big chance. We're going to try to sink them. We're going to come in very low and slow. And hopefully we won't get shot down. Their AA Gun Crew 1 is moderately wounded, so that'll give us a little bit better chance of not getting hit. But we're going to go ahead and take the chance, see what happens. Okay, here we come. We went to B1. Attack altitude, speed and altitude. We already chose very low and slow. And we're going to go to B3. The A gun crews are going to attack first. We're going to roll 8 times. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm only going to be able to do this one U-boat encounter because I'm running out of time. Oh, we got some serious hits. So I probably should, since they're wounded, I should do the rolls separately. I'll just separate them like this. Okay, the first one was a 9. So I believe we got hit pretty hard. Let's see. This is not good. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and do our modifiers real quick. Okay, we have fast speed, no. Okay, we have -3 for moderately wounded. AA Gun Crew 1. And we're very low altitude, so they get a +2. We're very slow, they get a +2. And they're veteran, +3. Yeah, that's not good. +4 modifier for all their gun attacks. So, okay, they still hit us 3 times, even though they're moderately wounded. This is the problem with coming in very low and slow. You're just a sitting duck. You have a better chance of hitting them with depth charges if you can survive flying through the hellstorm of their flak. So that's really not good. They hit us 3 times. I'm going to go ahead and just put these 3 here to keep track. And then we got 3 more hits on this gun here, A Gun Crew 2. So they hit us 6 times. I'm going to go back really quickly and check the damage on table F1. Okay, this is going to be tough. I don't know if we're going to survive this. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I'm trying to demonstrate. Oh yeah, we dropped these. I'm trying to demonstrate. Oh no, we haven't dropped them yet, actually. We haven't even gotten to the U-boat yet. Okay. Okay. We're going to go ahead and roll for, there's 6 hits. Okay, 15 walking hits. Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh god, I don't know. This is a nightmare. Okay. 15. We're going to have to roll for each section of the aircraft. fuselage section, but we go to the nose section first. We roll the 1, superficial, good. And then we go to the flight deck section. We roll once. Roll 3, superficial, oh, thank God. And we go to the bomb bay. 14, bomb bay doors were hit. If third hit, bomb bay doors are permanently jammed open, and then you burn extra petrol on the way back to base. So that's only the first hit. So we're going to go ahead and mark bomb bay doors, 1 hit. Okay, and then we're going to go to, we're going to skip the wings because it's only the fuselage. We're going to go to the waist section. Oops, wrong dice. Roll 1d10. 2, superficial, good. Okay, and we're going to go to the tail section. 15. Okay, the tailplane was hit. Let's see which tailplane. Okay, the right tailplane took 1 hit. Let's mark that off. If 2 hits, it comes off, but you can still fly. It's difficult, but they both come off. The bomber crashes. So let's see, and there were, yeah, that was the one, the walking hit. Now we got to go ahead and roll again. Okay, we rolled a 12. The waist got hit. That's the second die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We're going to go ahead and roll for waist. 1d10. Rolled a 7. Oh, the dorsal gunner got hit again. This is our new dorsal gunner. This is his first encounter. The dorsal gunners just aren't doing very well. Bad luck. Okay, we're going to roll for wounds. Oh, good. No wound. We rolled a 2. Wow, that was lucky. Okay. Yeah, it was 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is the third one. A 10. Right wing was hit. A 7. Superficial. Good. Next. A 9. Right wing again. Superficial. Our luck's going to run out sooner or later, I'm afraid. A 3, flight deck. Well, flight deck is never good. That's where the pilot is. 6, superficial. Very lucky. Okay, we're going to roll again. 14. Oh, tail. 18. The elevator was hit. Let's see, right or left. Okay, the right elevator was hit. Okay, we got 2 more hits. 19 walking hits. That's not good. Okay, we're going to have to go through each section. Nose section first. 12. Superficial. Flight deck. Superficial. Bomb bay. Control cables were hit. Okay, we're still safe there. If 3 times, the bomber goes out of control. Okay. And we're going to go to waist section. 20. Oops. Wrong die. 1d10. 3. Superficial. And tail. Superficial. Oh, that was lucky. Okay, that was that one. The final hit. 20 walking hits again. Okay, nose section. Superficial. Wow, we're getting lucky with superficial hits. Flight deck, 20 control cables hit. Good, at least our pilot wasn't hit. If the pilot dies, the game ends. Bomb bay, 8 superficial. Okay, 6 in the waist superficial, and then superficial in the tail. Wow, we were very lucky. We sustained some damage, nothing serious. So now it's our chance to attack. We're going to go ahead and drop the remaining 4 depth charges. Low and slow, we have a very good chance of hitting. I'll be ending this video here in about 5 minutes or so. And let's see, medium altitude. Okay, let's see, low altitude. Okay. That's a depth charge attack on table B5. We're going to roll 1 time per depth charge, so we're going to roll D20 4 times. We're going to roll 2 and 2, roll a 1 and a 14. The 1's a miss. 14, maybe. Okay, how much damage do we have? We have elevator, 1 hit, control cables, -3 for the damage. But we get a +2. I'm going to use this real quick. -3 for the damage. We have pickle barrel and piloting, so that's +2. We're very low, +2. And slow, +2. And it's a type C, so that's a +2. A 9C. And we get a +4 because it's surfaced. I forgot to apply the surfaced. Yeah, +9, that's good. Okay, that's 1 hit. We go down to note A. Okay, that's superficial. No damage. And we're going to go ahead and roll 2 more times for the last. Okay, 10, that was a what? This was a +9 modifier. Okay, so we got 1 more hit. Rolled a 12. Okay, we got 1 damage point. They are sunk. Heavy damage, now they're sunk. We just killed a U-boat. So they probably abandoned ship. I don't know if they scuttled or not. Maybe it just flooded and filled up with water and sank. Who knows? But we sank it. That's great. Now we got to see if we crash into the water. We just made our pass, and then maybe too much damage. You hit the water. We're going to roll for a crash check. 2. Oh, we're totally safe. Good. Okay. We're not going to go to B7 because they're sunk. The encounter's finished. So we got ourselves a kill. Wow, that's great. We took a big chance flying in very low and slow. We were very lucky we didn't sustain a bunch of damage. So we got the type, what was this, a type 9C. Okay, that's U-boat 1, and they're sunk. We mark it off. And we'll mark the VPs when we get back to the base. Okay, we don't have any leaking fuel or anything else. So now you only get credit for, if the U-boat is sunk, you don't get credit for killing the AA gun crews. You only get credit for killing them if you kill them with the MGs. Okay, I thought that was overkill. They're gonna die anyway, obviously, but to get the extra points, you have to kill them with the MGs. So, and so we don't have any major, no fuel leaks, no engine oil leaks, and we have enough petrol. So we're gonna go ahead and teleport back. You don't have to roll, because the radio direction finder, the only time you might have to roll also is if the RDF, the radio direction finder, is inoperative. Meaning the radio beam, there's no radio beam you can follow back in. The equipment's destroyed. So that means you're going to have to use your navigation, your Bob Navy's navigation skills. You're going to have to roll for navigation each zone going back to base. And if you're off course, you're going to burn extra petrol. So that's the only other time you can't really teleport back. So okay, we're back at base in England, somewhere in England. We're going to go back and roll for landing. And landing at base, table G1. We're going to roll 1d20. Okay, we rolled a 10. And we have 5 piloting skill points, so that's a 15. We'll go ahead and use this. We got a +5. No, wait, we got to do our minuses first here. Let's see. Let's put it back to 0. And okay, we got, what kind of damage have we got here? We got control cable, 2 control cables, and I don't think, do we have a tail plane? No, tail plane's not missing. So we can, we're not going to apply that modifier. So we're going to have a -2. Excuse me. -2 for the control damages, and then we have a rudder hit. Yeah, elevator hit, so that's a -3. And we're going to be fine, I'm pretty sure. And then, let's see, I think I'm skipping something here. Okay, that's the 2 control cables, 1, 2, 3, okay. And no controls on the flight deck hit, so windscreen is okay. No pilot wounds. And piloting skill point +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get a +2 modifier. 12. Yeah, smooth landing, no problem. Okay. And that's the end of the encounter. We sank our U-boat. We did a good job. Mission accomplished. And we're going to go to table H1 to return to base, and we're going to see how many victory points and skill points we earned. You can get, depending on who sank what, if you assisted or you did it directly. And if the Hudson is wrecked, it's -250 skill points. So we sank a Type 7C. Oh, we got a lot of points. We got 300 victory points plus 15 skill points. Oh, that was a good mission. So we earned 300. We were very lucky. Okay, we're up to 650 now. And how many skill points did we earn? We earned 10? Okay, 10 skill points. So now we're up to 14 skill points. I have some held in reserve. I'll assign them before the next encounter. So we're up to 650 victory points. Let's go to the final scoring to see how we're doing. We're doing the long game. We're at good right now. And rating is good. And let's check our medals. 650. Okay, DSC. Okay, and we don't earn any. Our next medal will be the DSO, and that'll be 900 from 900 victory points. So we still don't have enough for our third medal yet. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Thank you for watching. And this game should be released hopefully within a week or two on Wargame Vault as print and play. The game's a lot of fun. There's it's one of, like I said, it's one of my simpler designs. It's designed to play a little more quickly than some of my other games, and but I think there's still enough content that and variety that it will have good replay value. So I'm trying to think of anything else. It sets up quickly and breaks down quickly, and it plays quickly. So I think that's all. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time.